case you have not been to one of our little soirees before, the way it works is the city staff will present on an item of business, and before it goes to the public, it stays with the commission to ask technical questions. Once we're done with our technical questions, we open it up to the public for any commentary you might have or questions. If you have something to say, please step up to the microphone, state your name and your address so we have it for the minutes. I would also ask that people turn off their cell phones or turn them down to vibrate or silent if at all possible. And then once people are done with their public commentary, we close public commentary, come back to the commission for discussion and then a vote. With that, can you call the roll?
David Borsak, Ed Bowen, Jeffrey Tomes.
Here.
Thomas Freitag.
Here.
John Hens.
Here.
Steve Flemings. Kathleen Prop.
Here.
Donna Laurie.
Here.
Robert Weigert.
Here.
Carl Nolenberger.
Here.
Next up, approval of the minutes from March 4th. Do we have any additions, deletions, subtractions, corrections?
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? All right, let's move on to item none. On item 1, extraterritorial 4-lot land division / certified survey map at 5851 County Road A, 2032 and 2054 Shawnee Lane in the town of Vinland.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very welcome.
Carroll Land Surveying is requesting a 4-lot CSM from an existing 3-parcel conglomeration. Ooh, that's dark. In the town of Vinland. The subject site is approximately 1.5 miles north of the Oshkosh city limits. Currently, the site is developed with a single-family home on proposed Lot 1, single-family home on proposed Lot 3, and a single-family home on proposed Lot 4. And proposed Lot 2 is proposed to continue to be used for agricultural purposes. The reason for the land division is primarily to split off the single-family home on a larger parcel from the remainder of the agriculturally used portion of the property. And in addition to that, proposed lots 3 and 4, which were formerly or previously certified survey lots, they are going to be acquiring a little bit of more land from proposed lot 2 to rectify some non-conforming setbacks from the existing structures on the property. The proposed lot configurations are consistent with our residential land use recommendation, and we don't have any concerns with the proposed layout. One item of concern is with the addition of these little slivers to proposed lots 3 and 4, it's going to create a split zone situation. So after your either approval or denial, we will convey that to the Winnebago County just to make sure they're aware of that situation. And lastly, the city of Neenah had previously officially mapped some additional right-of-way along County Highway A, and it is indicated on the survey map, but at this time that dedication will not be taking place. The Department of Public Works reviewed the CSM and had no concerns or comments with the land division, and with that, staff is recommending approval of the land division as requested.
All right, technical questions. Okay, seeing none, anyone here from the audience to speak to the site?
I'm one of the owners. I'm sorry.
Come on up, state your name and address, please, miss.
I'm Ellen Allen. I'm one of the owners.
Okay, do we have any questions for me? Looks like you're good.
Okay.
Have a seat. Anybody else here to speak to this item today? Okay, seeing no one, back to the commission.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Okay, if not, call the roll.
Weigert.
Aye.
Nolenberger.
Aye.
Bowen.
Aye.
Tomes.
Aye.
Hens.
Aye.
Prop.
Aye.
Laurie.
Aye.
Freitag.
Aye.
Motion carried 8-0.
Okay, let's move on to item 2, grant privilege in the street at the 100-200 block of Jocelyn's.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item has actually been withdrawn by the petitioner at this time. It'll probably be coming back in maybe this form, maybe a different form, but at this time they don't want to bring it forward.
All right. So we'll go on to item 3, access control variance to permit a total of 3 driveway openings to 150-170 Wildwood Drive.
Thank you. Okay, as you said, this is an access control variance for three driveways on a parcel that would, as of right, permit two driveways. And I will kind of show you, this is the area of Wildwood Drive. This section of Wildwood Drive is about a third of a mile, runs from Witzel over to Oakwood, and it really services this Wildwood Village apartment community. So you can kind of see the apartments coming here. It's zoned R3, which is a multifamily zoning. This is one of the last lots remaining to be developed. I'm going to kind of go forward on this. Does come in really, really dark. This is a lot with an aerial photo. You have multifamily condominiums to the north, apartments to the west and to the south, and then a detention facility directly adjacent on the east. The lot itself is about 2.8 acres, and it's just kind of zoomed in, although it's kind of dark to see. So this is what's being proposed now. The original concept was to do two 16-unit buildings, and I'm going to go back. As you can see, is directly to the south. They had this, where they had two buildings and then sort of a garage space in the center. What they're proposing to do now is actually split these units, still 32 units, but split it into four buildings with attached garage spaces rather than a detached garage. What this does is it creates the need for three separate driveways to access the sides of the building, the north and the south sides of the building where the garages and entries are, where the other development would have required two. So the change in that traffic flow is facilitating this access control variance. I'll go a little bit further out so you can see this is Wildwood Drive once again. Here's the condominium community and then apartment community down around this area. I bring this larger map up because, as I had said, Wildwood Drive is about a third of a mile. It really, this section of Wildwood Drive functions to only serve Wildwood Village condos and apartment communities. So this stretch of roadway currently has 11 driveways. If the site were to develop as of right with the two driveways, you'd be at 13. They're requesting a third, which would make it 14 driveways. And I threw that in there just for perspective, that if this section of Wildwood had been developed with single-family homes, you'd have 27 driveways on that street, 7 on this parcel alone, potentially. And if it were to be developed as two-family, you could have 14 on this parcel, or over 50 on the whole stretch. Obviously, it's an apartment community, so you don't have that. But I wanted to throw in perspective that the 14 driveways on the stretch of roadway is not, in our opinion, excessive. Additionally, when we looked at the housing choice in this area and thought that these units would provide a nice additional housing choice from what's out there now, that really offsets or justifies the need for that third driveway to access them. Wanted to bring up the point that the traffic generation is not going to change from what was existing. 32 units, you still have 32 units, just in a different configuration. So that wasn't a concern for us as well. Public Works and Transportation Departments had all looked at this during review, and there were no concerns about having the third driveway access. So we are recommending approval of the access control variance to allow the 3 driveway openings at this property.
Great. Technical questions from the commission? Go ahead, Jeff. Ed, Jeff.
So by code, saying this density is acceptable, we're not overloading or anything like that.
No.
We're just making the ingress and egress a little bit more efficient.
Well, you're allowing the 3 driveways where 2 would only be permitted
Right.
by right.
If we only permitted 2, the likelihood would be that they would stick with that prior development pattern of 16-unit attached garage, 16-unit, as opposed to what we're looking at here with the
4 8s with the attached, yeah.
Jeff?
This new configuration, did Fire look at that? Did they have any issues with new configuration at all in the curb cuts?
Well, they reviewed it as part of the Plan Commission review. They didn't provide any comments. They'll also get a look at it as well when it comes through for building permits, and they do much more detailed analysis at that point.
Any other technical questions? Okay, seeing none.
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Don.
I have friends that live out in that neighborhood, and it's always well done, beautiful. So I would have no problem going along with this because it's kept up very nicely.
Anyone here from the public to speak to this item today? Come on up, sir.
Tom Helverson with Carroll Land Surveying, here on behalf of Midwest Companies. Obviously, they're in favor of the project, and we did get some comments back from the the fire department on the site plan review for this, that they said they were okay with it. That there was a couple of things as far as some water shutoffs that they needed, but otherwise the driveway configuration was fine.
Great, thank you. Anybody else here to speak to this item today? Okay, seeing none, public comment is closed. Back to the commission.
Approve.
Second?
Been seconded. Any questions on the call the roll?
Weigert,
Aye.
Mullenberger,
Aye.
Cohen,
Aye.
Holmes,
Aye.
Hens,
Aye.
Crop,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Whitehead.
Aye.
Motion carried 8-0.
Excellent. All right, on to item 4, acceptance of the Middle Village Neighborhood Plan, which we spoke about.
Yep, and Lizzie's going to go into it. Just reiterate that this is a culmination of about a year's worth of work between staff and the neighborhood. We're very happy with the product, and this is really going to be the jumping off point for us in some of this healthy neighborhood stuff and starting to try and move some of these neighborhoods that are, transitioning more of a healthy status, and we're looking forward to starting implementation on this plan once approved.
Thank you. So today, staff is requesting acceptance of the Middle Village Neighborhood Plan, which focuses on the target neighborhood bounded by Church Ave, Jackson Street, West Irving Avenue, and North Main Street. The existing zoning in the neighborhood is predominantly R2PD with C3 and C3 PD along Main Street and a little bit on Church Avenue. As Darren said, over the last year, staff has been working with residents in the Middle Village neighborhood to develop their vision for the neighborhood's future. The flow chart on the screen kind of walks you through the planning process that was taken to draft the plan. In, I believe it was late 2012, residents met with planning services staff to, agree that they were willing to go through the planning process. In January, the Neighborhood Association distributed a survey to residents living in the neighborhood to better understand perceptions. A total of 58 responses were collected, and it provided really good insight as to the demographics and the makeup of the neighborhood. Then in December of 2012, local and state officials and residents gathered at the corner of West Parkway Avenue and Central Street to watch 118 West Parkway be demolished. The home had been vacant for a total of 5 years and was considered an eyesore by the surrounding property owners. Funding received through the State of Wisconsin's Strategic Blight Elimination Program was used to demolish a total of 3 properties within Middle Village. Next, in April of 2013, 2 visioning sessions were held at Christ Lutheran Church. A total of 18 property owners attended the meetings to further prioritize the results obtained through the neighborhood survey. Then, using the results from both the survey and the visioning sessions, representatives from the neighborhood started meeting bi-weekly to draft goals and objectives for the neighborhood plan. The plan overview, just kind of to give you a little background for those watching, it talks about the neighborhood history, gives a good look at the existing conditions, talks about the process that was used to develop the vision, and then it's broken into 4 focus areas, which were community building, public infrastructure, safety, and housing. I'm going to quickly just give a overview of each of the goals that were developed within those 4 focus areas. Within community building, the first was build a sense of community and pride improve communication within the Middle Village neighborhood and with other neighborhood association, partner with neighborhood businesses, and partner with UWO to address neighborhood concerns. Some of the strategies and objectives that were discussed were to focus on marketing the neighborhood assets. Middle Village is one of the most walkable neighborhoods within the city. Within a 5-minute walk, you can be to the transit center, businesses, county services, city services. They also felt that they wanted to further develop the neighborhood identity through the use of neighborhood identification signage. We also wanted to develop a way to support neighborhood association activities, and then just better communication and partnerships between not only the neighborhood residents but also city officials, local nonprofit organizations to further the objectives and goals that were talked about. Currently, the Neighborhood Association does have a UWO intern that is focusing on neighborhood outreach and getting residents more engaged with neighborhood activities. The public infrastructure goals, calm neighborhood or traffic on neighborhood streets. There was, the residents felt that there was a lot of speeding and cut-through traffic. They also wanted to improve visibility at intersections, provide or improve pedestrian safety, specifically dealing with snow removal in the winter. They wanted to provide public green space and park space for the residents in the neighborhood, increase streetscaping, and implement green infrastructure where possible. So some of the strategies that were developed, the residents have been actively working with city staff to address concerns, and this partnership will need to continue in the future. City staff has been invited to participate on neighborhood walks to better understand the concerns and issues of neighborhood residents. So they felt that that was an effort that they wanted to continue working towards. And then they also, they wanted to work with the neighborhood association, or the city staff needs to work with the neighborhood association to develop a maintenance plan for the green spaces and open spaces through the elimination of those blighted properties. We do have the opportunity to put in some green infrastructure, public spaces for the kids to gather. An example of ways that we're working together currently, I believe it was, 6 months ago, we had a meeting with residents regarding their road reconstruction project on Central Street. We talked with the Department of Public Works, and they've come up with some recommendations or improvements in terms of speed humps and reducing the width of the drive lanes, which will increase, terrace widths and beautify the neighborhoods. So that's just a good example of how we're already partnering. The safety goals were improve personal safety for residents and visitors, create safe gathering spaces for the neighborhood, develop solutions to provide pedestrian access in all seasons and weather conditions, address safety issues related to domestic pets, and improve lighting in the neighborhood. One of the strategies will be to develop a Project Porch Light program to provide additional lighting sources on private property within the neighborhood. And again, city staff will be participating with the monthly neighborhood walks to better understand safety concerns in the neighborhood. The association has talked about developing a handyman resource guide for property owners who can't maintain their property, or if they're not able to shovel, there's a number or resource for them to call so that those things can get done. And again, just education and communication on existing ordinances within the city and resources that are available to help with some of the concerns. I've talked about the neighborhood walks. Monthly, I think it's the first Sunday of every, second Sunday of every month. The neighborhood residents get together, they walk the neighborhood, pick up litter, they talk with police officers about problem properties. Our property maintenance inspectors have gone on these walks. So just, again, understanding where they're coming from and how we can partner to make the neighborhood a better place. Lastly, the housing goals were to increase maintenance levels within the neighborhood, take steps to encourage higher quality housing, increase home ownership opportunities in the neighborhood, encourage landlord involvement in the neighborhood, and encourage tenant involvement in the neighborhood. So through a targeted revitalization effort, we're hoping to provide rehabilitation incentive programming, a first-time home buyer program to increase home ownership within the neighborhood. We're also partnering with local housing agencies to deal with some of the concerns that have been raised. And then communication, again, with tenants, landlords, and the homeowners within the neighborhood, just to better understand where each is coming from. So with that, today staff is recommending that the Plan Commission accept the Middle Village Neighborhood Plan together with a finding that it's consistent and does not conflict with the City of Oshkosh Comprehensive Plan. Once you provide your recommendation, it will go to Common Council for approval, and then we'll start working on the plan implementation section and monitor and update the plan as needed.
Great, thank you. Technical questions? Go ahead, Jim.
Darren, remind me, in the comprehensive plan, is there anything that talks about the widths of streets in there, any streets and things of that nature?
Sure. There's a section in the transportation section on recommended locals, arterials.
Is there anything that they're wanting to do here in contrast to what the comprehensive plan, to where we would have to do an exception to accept what they're wanting to do?
In terms of absolute street width, I think we're talking, what, 26 feet, Steve? Is that it? 28 feet. That is, what, 2 feet under what our standard would be?
This whole area is substandard of the comp plan to start with. The right-of-ways out here are only 50 feet. The comp plan would say that 60 feet should be the right-of-way out here. Through policy and code for the city, a normal street in a 50-foot right-of-way would be 30. Working through the neighborhood association, we've put that down to 28 in this case because they've already gone to single-side parking, which is really where the double-sided parking is what really pushed the need up to the 30. So it's really keeping the street width the same, as very similar to what it is today out there.
But it is substandard, so is there anything we should do as part of passing this to aid them to be able to do that?
Steve, do you think we're already making plans to, it's already substandard, right? I mean, you said it's already 28.
It is substandard. The right-of-ways are substandard. We're not going to go out and acquire the 5 feet of right-of-way from each side.
I think if we're
walking the front
if we were going in that direction, we'd have more concern.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that if you're going to redo that street, we're redoing it less than what the comp plan says. So I would think that we would, or at least we should do something, not necessarily now, but to allow that to happen, because it's against what the comprehensive plan says to do.
Well, the comprehensive plan, and that is generally applied to when we're developing new streets in new subdivisions, things like that. When you're dealing with the central city, where you have a bunch of substandard right-of-ways, and you can't really, it's not practical to go in and acquire 5 feet on either side of the street.
And I'm not saying that that's what we're talking about doing, is actually narrowing it further. That's all I'm trying to get in. I don't want to have a footfall, for the neighborhood later, because of what we're doing is we're saying, yeah, it isn't the comprehensive plan. We know we're not going to go out and acquire, but guess what? We're actually going to make it even more substandard, and that's all I'm trying to get at. Is I'm not necessarily against what they're trying to do, okay? Because parking on one side is going to make it a little bit safer. It's going to make it a little easier. We can narrow the street that way and give them the extra green space. I just want to make sure that we're not doing anything that's going to be counter. And we're being asked to say it's within the comprehensive plan, and I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, it's not necessarily. How do we fix that?
Wish you'd been here 2 weeks ago and talked about this, because off the top of my head, I can't,
everything.
we're proceeding forward with the plan, we're proceeding forward with the street reconstruction.
I can jump in with the ordinances and policy. That the way that's set up is that the Board of Public Works has the right to deviate from the prescribed standards at that point. It doesn't address the comp plan, but it does address through the ordinances how that is done.
And I'd have to actually review the actual language in that chapter. I don't have the comprehensive plan sitting in front of me, so I can't review what the actual comprehensive plan language standard is.
Well, and this is a technicality, but what we're being asked to do is to say that this particular plan isn't in conflict with the comprehensive plan. Sorry, it is. It may not be totally. There may be lots of elements that are. I'm just saying, should we say that it's within the comprehensive plan with the exceptions noted that's been acceptable? I don't know how to do that. I mean,
but I don't know if we're actually in conflict. I mean, when we talk about we're talking about new standards for new development. Yeah, that's the standard that we apply. But in an existing situation, I think
you're saying the comp plan doesn't
it
have anything to do with if we're going to put in reconstruction of a road?
I think it recognizes that, in the central city we have different logistical issues in the center city versus a growth area of the community. I guess we can. Make a note. We can note it for the record and see if there's any changes that we may need to include potentially for the Common Council. It's enough that you've noted it. Yeah. So that's going to be reflected in the minutes. Let me see if there's any other mechanical things that we need to do for Common Council review of it. So it's a good catch.
Other technical questions? Okay, seeing none. Open to the public. Anybody here to speak to this item today? Come on up, Tony.
Tony Palmieri, 212 West Parkway Avenue. Live in this neighborhood, a member of the Middle Village Neighborhood Association. I just want to thank the planning department, especially Darren and Elizabeth, for the many meetings and much time they've spent with neighbors to work this plan out. Well, we're very, very excited about it. Also want to thank the Plan Commission for a very, very positive workshop 2 weeks ago. I think the consensus was that everybody wants this to be a neighborhood of choice. There's no guarantee that will happen with this plan, but I think without passage of this plan, it'll be that much more of a struggle for us to make this neighborhood the neighborhood of choice it should be. So thank you for your support.
Anyone else here to speak to this item today? Come on up, sir.
My name is Gary Gray. I live at 815 West Linwood, not in this area. I have a couple of general comments or questions. The comment or question is, what exactly is accepting a neighborhood plan? Is accepting the same as received? Is it the same as approve? Approval and receiving are two different things, and I was just wondering what the Plan Commission is doing and what the Common Council will be doing. And I'm sorry, it's also maybe a little bit technical.
Oh, that's a good question.
No, I think our interpretation would be acceptance would be approving it.
Approving it?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess my concern for neighborhood plans is commitment of a possible commitment of staff time and funding sources and setting priorities for those two resources. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else here to speak to this item today?
Hi, I'm Dory Wilner, Habitat for Humanity of Oshkosh Family Services Coordinator, and I'm here with our construction manager, Doug Rosso. And we just wanted to speak to the fact that we are very much in favor of the plan and looking forward to partnering with the city and NeighborWorks as we can. We are an affordable housing provider in the city, the second largest home builder in the city for the last 5 years in terms of new construction. And we believe in the strong vitality of a neighborhood, because every family we place in a neighborhood, it becomes a stronger part of that neighborhood, and we support that strength in revitalization. We've been involved with Stevens Park, River East and Millers Bay projects through cleanups and potential projects with some other planning that has occurred. So just to say that we're excited about this project and look forward to being a part of it in any way that we can. Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak to this item today? Okay, seeing none, back to the commission.
To accept.
Yeah. Second?
Seconded. Comments? I was just one comment. Compliment to the neighbors and to the city staff for working together. I think this is a really good plan, and I hope that it does become a neighborhood of choice. Other comments or questions? Kathy?
I agree. As I said at the workshop, it's an exceptional plan, and it's good because it's got strong neighborhood support as well as strong staff support. And our commenter today said the right thing, that we need to make sure that there's adequate resources for staff time to help support this plan and other plans that may come along for healthy neighborhoods.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I just want to say, about 5 years ago, big issue in the city was NeighborWorks coming to town, trying to build strong neighborhoods in our community. This is a neighborhood building a strong neighborhood through itself. And if this can help NeighborWorks working with other neighborhoods in the city that could have something like this, or inspiring other neighborhoods within the city to do this, this is great. This is a neighborhood taking ownership of where they live and taking pride in it. And I hope that this spurs on other neighborhoods within our community.
Great, thank you. Other thoughts or comments before we call the vote? Seeing none, let's vote.
Weigert.
Aye.
Wallenberger.
Aye.
Owen.
Aye.
Tom.
Aye.
Vince.
Aye.
Rock.
Aye.
Lori.
Aye.
Foytek.
Aye.
Motion carried 8-0.
Do we have any other items you'd like to share with us before we close today's meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Be done.
You interview flowers.